Friedrich, Probably-Next-German-Chancellor Merz has decided that actually, if you think about it, billions in state debts are great after all, and don't worry about anything he might have said before the election, because what if we want to build tanks in Volkswagen factories? Also, who knew Hubert Aiwanger would turn out to be a massive weasel? More evidence that Germany needs more immigrants, and the results of Meghan's citizenship test revealed. Woohoo!
In Berlin's heart, where news is unveiled, Meghan and Conrad with German tales. The German news, it's tough to bear, but with Meghan, they're ready to repair. Conrad, daily news at hand. Meghan feels despair, time to crack those cans. With each sip she takes, the Meg is her shield. But will it last the news? 'Cause that was the deal.
Hello everyone, we're back. It's time for a new episode of Meghan's Megacan. I'm here in Berlin with Konrad Werner. Hello Konrad.
Hello.
How are you?
Yeah, good, yeah. It's nice, isn't it, outside now?
Oh, it's very nice. I feel like we're into like the second wave of what we think is spring.
Yeah.
We thought it was spring 2 weeks ago, but then winter came back, didn't it? We were all frozen.
Yeah, it got really cold.
Yeah, it was grim. Now we've got the second one,
Yeah.
which will take us through to April, and then April will be crazy, I think.
Singing.
April's also, it'll definitely snow again in April, it always does.
Okay.
But yeah,
Did
and
you
then
do
we're in
it?
May, and then
Okay.
a brief fun in May before it gets way too hot. But anyway, that's the weather report for everyone.
Thanks. That's the end of the news. Did you do anything for St. Patrick's Day? Happy St. Patrick's Day.
Thank you. I was actually in Ireland last weekend.
Oh, very good.
So that was good. And I flew back on St. Patrick's Day. And I was hoping that Dublin Airport would be empty because everyone would be out celebrating. But it was absolutely poaching with people dressed in green. But everyone had a nice time. It was good. Yeah, I had a very sober St. Patrick's Day because I'm still not drinking. But I did think we could have today. You in solidarity are also not.
Yeah.
I thought we could have a little radler since the sun is out.
Yeah. Just that taste of spring.
So we've got a Krombacher alcohol-frei 0.0, not even one of the less than 0.5 ones that you get. Let me open this for you.
Okay. Nothing says spring like a bit of lemon in your beer.
Nothing says premature spring like two people in March saying summer has arrived.
Yeah.
Why can't I use this? All
Okay.
right.
Cool.
Cheers.
Cheers.
I mean, obviously that's delicious.
Yeah. Who needs mega cans?
I mean, easy. We still do, because the world keeps turning. Maybe someday in a perfect world we wouldn't need mega cans.
But as long
It's
as
always
there's
nice to know that they're there.
as long as there's fascism and climate crisis, we are going to have to keep drinking mega cans.
Oh, God.
Right. So
I know fuck all. I know, to quote some show, which I can't remember, shit about fuck, even more so than usual this week.
wow. So no wonder you're in a good mood.
I'm feeling
You
quite
haven't.
summery. That's it. I have really not listened to very much of anything. Haven't really read anything.
So
Shit. Bad stuff is happening everywhere, I'm sure.
we are in an interesting moment today, this weekend especially, because we are exactly between two legislative periods.
Oh, wow.
We're on the border. Today was the last day of the Bundesrat sat,
Okay.
and Tuesday will be the first day that the new parliament, the new Bundestag, is going to convene for the first time ever.
Really? We're all
Yeah.
ready to go on that?
Yeah. Well,
Wow.
they haven't. So the rule is, in case you're interested, and I know some of our listeners are.
Sorry, I know what's been happening in the news this week, which has been like absolute chaos, but we're just going to talk about German things for a while,
Yeah.
which for once has been back to German business of technical things.
Kind of, yeah. So
Yeah.
the rule is that the new Bundestag must convene within 30 days of the election,
Okay.
regardless of whether the coalition.
Oh, shit. Yeah.
is
It's almost a
formed.
month ago, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it was 23rd of February, and now on Tuesday they will meet for the first time. And obviously we don't actually have a government yet. But that is not the point. And the time plan is the Friedrich Merz, the presumptive chancellor, he is in talks with the SPD, and they expect to be finished by Easter. They expect to have hashed
I did
out.
read that somewhere.
They want to hash out their coalition contract by Easter, and then he's going to be sworn in the first week after Easter. So that's what the plan is. In the meantime, but they've decided to do something which was constitutionally a little bit questionable, although, well, it wasn't really constitutionally questionable, but some felt it was politically questionable because they passed a massive restructuring of the German debt brake, which is in the constitution. And the reason why they did it this week is because next week they won't have a 2/3 majority to do it. They being the CDU, the SPD, and the Greens. And to change the German constitution,
Interesting.
you need a 2/3 majority. So some people, especially the AfD and the BSW, were saying they don't have a mandate to do this. You know, they especially the AfD, because next week the AfD will have many more seats in Parliament.
Yeah.
So basically, Friedrich Merz got together with the SPD and managed to persuade the Green Party to also vote for it.
Yeah.
So that they would have this majority. And they got it through both houses this week, starting with the Bundestag on Tuesday. It was slightly easier to get it through the Bundestag, although there were some CDU people who were pissed off about it and didn't vote for it or abstained. But they managed to get the majority, and then the Bundestag voted for it as well. And
Yeah, so this is, as you just said, politically questionable because they're using an outgoing parliament that's basically like
Yeah.
Friedrich Merz is driving this as presumptive chancellor.
And also, all his coalition talks are like based on getting this money, being able to spend this money.
Yeah. So he has then done this. It's a bit any constitutional change is going to be a bit like woo. Also controversial because he has been saying all along the CDU are supposed to be, from what I understand, like fiscal. They're conservative, so it's fiscal. Like to go against. Maybe we should explain what the debt brake is for people who are not as politically savvy as myself, Conrad.
Okay.
What is the debt brake? Simply put.
So it was introduced in, I think, 2009, 2010, just after the financial crisis by Merkel's government, because they wanted to make sure that the government would never go bankrupt because there was a massive debt crisis at the time. So they put in this rule saying that the government in any given year cannot spend more than 0.35% above GDP, cannot borrow above 0.35% above GDP, except in emergencies. So they declared an emergency for COVID. So
They did, yeah.
And they declared an emergency for the Ukraine war, so they could do this Sondervermögen. But now they just decided, actually, the whole world is an emergency all the time. So can we just change the rules? And so they basically, the debt brake sort of still exists, but they've just sort of, de facto, it doesn't exist anymore. And it means that Germany is effectively going to spend, like, different numbers have been bandied about, but up to €1 trillion. It's going to borrow like €1 trillion in order to massively invest in the military and also in infrastructure, and also a little bit of money for climate change, because, you know, that's also happening. That, by the way, was because of the Green Party had to get involved. So that was the condition that they demanded.
Because I know that is another reason that people are looking at this on both sides of the sort of political spectrum a little bit warily, from what I understand, like this huge push for militarization. Some kids were out striking about it this week from school.
Yeah. So, probably amongst our more left-wing friends, they were likely to draw a lot of parallels with the lead up to the First World War, when Germany was also borrowing a lot of money to build up the military. And a lot of people are saying, oh, I mean, it is bad. I mean, it's not a good sign.
No.
that Germany has decided to invest all this money. On the other hand, a lot of people feel that it is necessary. I mean, I think in the majority of, if you ask German people now, the majority are in favour of lifting this debt brake because they do feel less safe, and they do feel, you know, in the current situation geopolitically, with Trump being extremely volatile and unlikely, and perhaps unlikely to protect NATO and all this other stuff.
Yeah, like if NATO basically is no longer reliable, then, oh God, I don't know. I hate this. Obviously, this will come as no surprise to anyone, but I like to be very firm in my views on everything. And I feel weird about all of this. I actually think it's a good thing. I think we've spoken about this before, like, the debt brake in 2009, it seems very sensible, doesn't it? But from what I understand of countries, it's not really how countries operate, and it makes Germany odd. And it means they don't have any money for things when things start going a bit badly like they are now.
And it's hard to overstate how much of a U-turn this is for Friedrich Merz, because he was in the election campaign. He was going on, and he was especially having a go at the Green Party, who were put in their manifesto, we need to lift the debt brake so that we can massively reinvest in infrastructure and protect climate change. And he was like, in the election campaign, he was like going, oh, you can't do that. You don't understand. You're bloody green weirdos. And now he's kind of had to go up to them cap in hand to get their votes. So, and it was kind of personally pretty embarrassing for him. And yeah, I mean, Germany does need a lot of infrastructure investment. I mean, it's pretty, like, the trains are shit.
It's like
but we have
going through the streets of Berlin at the moment. Like, this is,
you know, they say history doesn't repeat itself, but it does rhyme. And the way that, for example, the company Rheinmetall is now talking about, there was a talking about well, maybe we could take over some of VW's factories in case we need to build more tanks. I mean, that's like...
Oh, fuck me, let's not do that.
And
I don't love that.
Because, you know, VW is like kind of struggling at the moment because no one's buying cars. And so, yeah, so there was a talk that the Rheinmetall suggested that they might have to take over some VW factories. And because Rheinmetall, which is the biggest German arms manufacturer, supplies weapons to unstable regions all over the world, is now will be expecting huge contracts from all over Europe, from all the different European governments. So yeah, and things aren't looking so good for companies like VW and Audi, who are all laying off people because no one buys cars anymore. So it's obviously not good.
No.
But also it's difficult to say what else could have happened.
It's just hard. It's just hard to be a person who knows things at the moment. Even if you only know a little bit of things, it's hard to do that and to hold it all in your head and try and have still at least nice to be in the position of someone who just like knows the things rather than is like actively experiencing the things. I mean, I don't want money going for arms. I don't want that to be the reason that Germany gets into debt. And I think a level of dealing with people you've got Trump on the one hand, you've got Putin on the other. What are you going to do? Go and negotiate with them? Like, you can't. Like, I think that's insane. And maybe it will work, or maybe, you know, and there's a lot of people doing that kind of stuff, but you also have to try and have some kind of other deterrent that they might understand. I don't know. What a horrible situation. Oh God. Anyway, so maybe we'll get some more trains. Maybe they'll give the BVG some fucking money. We had 48 hours of strikes in Berlin.
Yeah. That's a
lot.
There was a lot of traffic jams I noticed around here the last few days. Anyway.
Give them what they want. I'm honestly about to start a crowdfunder. It was fucking hell getting home from work.
I can imagine.
And everyone is just angry. It's not a fun city. A city that prides itself on its like rudeness to people. And I'm not saying like they're not rude. Like, I love Berliners, but they are. It's a pride. Yeah. It's not a fun group of people to experience like transport breakdown with. It's not pally. It's all just fucking.
Yeah.
Everyone's frayed and on the edge.
Yeah, I don't. Berliners, we don't need you to tell it like it is right now.
No.
Just be nice.
It's just
for a while.
everyone try.
Stop being so direct about everything. Anyway, so
All right.
do you want to see? This was quite a funny story.
Okay. Yes,
Involved with
please.
this. So do you remember Hubert Aiwanger?
Oh, fucking hell. Do I? Do I?
So a lot of people would have thought after the election where they got like 2% of the vote.
Oh, did he? Did he lose really badly? Sorry. Hubert Aiwanger, leader of the Freie Wähler, the free voters in Bayern.
Yeah.
He was involved with the Nazi leaflet at school that he allegedly, but didn't, because it was really his brother who doesn't work in politics who did it.
So
Please
a lot of people would have thought his party got 1.5% of the national vote in the election, and a lot of people thought, okay, well then surely he is politically irrelevant now. But it turns out, because he is still in the Bavarian government as economy minister as part of the coalition with the CSU, he realised last week that if the Freie Wähler decided to vote against this debt package, it would actually scupper the whole thing, because the Bundesrat, Bundesrat is made up of the 16 state governments, right? Representatives. It's 69 seats. All the seats are basically cabinet members from all the different state governments, but they don't vote along party lines. They have to vote along state lines. Which is why you probably don't hear as much about them arguing that much in the Bundesrat, because they have to make a decision before they go in. All the different 16 states.
Okay, so when you say vote along, this debt break thing has gone through the Bundestag, so the lower house, the big one, all those lads in there, and they're like, fine, whatever, fine, Friedrich, you flip-flopping little shite. Yeah. We're also afraid of Russia, fine. And then it has to go to the Bundesrat, which are these 69 seats of all the state representatives.
Yeah.
Now, who is in there? Is it automatically like the premiers and...
Yeah, it's the premiers and their top ministers, essentially. Okay. And each state has between 3 and 6 seats each.
Okay.
So Berlin, because it's one of the small states, has 3 seats. And North Rhine-Westphalia is one of the massive states.
Yeah.
It's not quite proportional, but they have 6 seats.
Okay.
It's slightly fairer than the American system, where in the Senate you have 1 senator or 2 senators for each state, right?
Yeah.
But and even regardless of population density and everything, but in Germany they slightly split up. But the point is that when they vote in the Bundesrat,
right,
they can't split their votes. So if you have a coalition, for example, of the CSU in Bavaria with the Freie Wähler, and they have 6 seats between them, 2 of them belong to the Freie Wähler, and 4 of them are the CSU, the Conservatives. Markus Söder is one of them. If they vote differently on a question such as, should we reform the debt break, all the votes are declared invalid. The states have to vote all together.
And do they? So they have to decide it beforehand as they're driving. I imagine they're driving up from their various state capitals in a car share, just fucking furiously debating this. And they're like, we need petrol. Let's go in.
They all have to rent a bus together.
Oh my God, they're all in a
minibus.
They're all in a wee minibus. Just fucking.
Hubert Aiwanger.
Hubert Aiwanger.
Shotgun.
Oh God, he's such a wanker.
And because the voting margin, so technically, mathematically, it could have been that if Bavaria had voted no or made its votes invalid, the whole debt break would have collapsed, and it would have had to be sent back to the Bundestag next week when it's all full of AfD people. And they wouldn't have had so Hubert Aiwanger briefly threatened, I don't know why I'm talking about it because it didn't actually ultimately happen, I just thought it was funny, but Hubert Aiwanger briefly threatened to scupper the whole thing, says, wow, we still want to talk about certain things, I don't know. And Markus Söder said, if you vote no, I am getting another coalition partner. And the SPD had already said, we'll do it, you know. So he said, like, if you vote no, you're going to be out of government. And then Hubert Aiwanger changed his mind.
I love this story.
He changed his mind.
These little weasels that just are like, I'm like, Hubert, you've got nothing. Like, if you don't, your whole job is to just, oh my God.
There were actually quite a lot of other objections from the states because, you know, there's a few states have got Linke people in government. For example, Mecklenburg-Vorpommern has got Linke in the coalition, who are also unhappy with the debt brake reform, largely because of the fact that it will be used to fund this military, which is something the Linkers are very much against. The same goes for the BSW, the Bundeswehr Wagenknecht. They're in government in 2 states in the eastern Germany now. And they also have their objections. And one of the sticking points was that they were saying that if you're going to fund all this infrastructure, then we want to be able to decide where that money goes.
Yeah.
And the states, like there is like a feeling amongst the state governments that they are being like overridden by the federal government. So, but anyway, they voted for it. So
all right, so it went
nothing
through.
Actually happened. But
okay.
I thought it was kind of interesting. So
all right,
that's the debt brake thing.
This all sounds like we're talking about this like technical, for people who are not German, this is a fucking massive deal.
Oh, yeah.
It's huge.
Yeah.
They voted, like it's been such a part of the German culture of like political kind of thing.
Yeah. I mean, it still is. I mean, the FDP were sending lawsuits to the Constitutional Court saying it's unconstitutional, and there were loads of
then you shouldn't have fucking
complaints.
collapsed the government, you fuckers. If you still wanted a big say, then you shouldn't have done such a shit job that we've now got Friedrich Merz calling the shots. Like, fuck you. I will hear it from Die Linke. I will hear genuine criticisms about it, but not from these nonsense people. Get out, go away, learn how to do your job. See you maybe in 4 years.
Yeah. We'll get back to the FDP in one day.
Yeah, we will. I'm going to cleanse. I can't deal with Trump and the FDP. At least the universe has given me that fucking gift. I don't have to deal with those two in the same legislative period.
Not yet, anyway.
Oh, not yet. Not until the dynasty rolls on. Oh, God. Right.
Good. What else was on the list?
What else is on the list? Germans in the USA, I've got. I can't remember really what this was about.
Yeah, so you might have noticed that the American government has become rather more...
Fill in the blank.
Has become rather more aggressive recently. Or draconian, would we say, when it comes to immigration. There have been like various stories of baffled white Germans being held up by ICE, not the German trains, but by the immigration service in America.
Yeah.
And it's all very Kafkaesque. There's a guy called Fabian Schmidt who flew into Boston on March the 7th, and he's a green card holder. They just pulled him out, interrogated him for hours, and detained him, depriving him of sleep, food, and water.
Jesus.
And as well as his anxiety medication. He had to go to hospital, and he doesn't know why. They wouldn't tell him why. It was like totally something out of Kafka. This happened a couple of other times where a German was visiting their fiancée in Nevada. And they decided, because they had a sick dog, they decided to go to the vet in Mexico. They crossed the border. And then when they went back, ICE basically wouldn't let them back in. Even though they had, and they said they were trying to violate they were violating the 90-day regulations. This thing about the 90-day regulations. But I don't know. It's been a bit of a story recently, and absolutely
horrible. And as you say, like if it's this horrible and this traumatic for white German man who's just going about his business, doing whatever, like what it's like for people who are in more precarious situations, are just like how horrendous that must be. And I just don't think it's a good idea. I don't know.
Yeah, so in response to this, German Foreign Ministry has updated its travel advisory for the USA.
Don't go.
And says that, stressing that holding a US visa or entry waiver does not guarantee access for German citizens. And
so they're basically just saying, you can't put any faith in anything that the US government is saying. Yeah. They're not trustworthy.
I believe the British government has also made a similar movement.
I don't think. Words fail me for the times that we are living in. But maybe Friedrich Merz is going to give us all a tank. We can just drive around in one. Don't really want a tank, but if it's all that's on offer.
A Volkswagen tank.
We can cut about in a VW tank. Ugh. Well,
I've got a little bit of good news.
Thank fuck.
Well, I don't know if it's really good news
No,
as such, but it's
just say it. Don't.
So, according to the IW, the German Economic Institute in Cologne, top economy boffins.
Boffins?
They are.
Wow, that's not a word you hear every day.
Top economy boffins of Germany. They say that international students, foreign students, bring billions into the German economy over time, and that we should have more of them. And it's quite interesting. So apparently the figure here is in 2022, around 80,000 international students arrived here, and they are estimated to bring in about 15.5 billion euros altogether through taxes and social security contributions over their lifetimes.
Oh.
Because Germany has a very high, you have to pay a lot of social security contributions for one thing if you live in Germany and work. But they also have a very light, what they call a Bleiberate, like a staying rate for foreign students. So as many as 45% of foreign students are still here 10 years after graduating, and that is pretty high for foreign students around the world. And there's a lot of foreign students who want to come here and to work and to study, and they are really good for the economy and they spur growth. And what's the one thing everyone knows about German universities?
They're free.
Yeah.
And I mean, that is amazing. I mean, we talk a lot of shit about Germany, but...
So according to the IW, basically they pay for themselves. So within 3 years of graduating, if 40% of those students stay, it has already paid for that year of foreign students' education. So that's how they've already broken even after 3 years for paying for all their education. So it's like absolutely worth it because they stay much longer. Yeah, and it's really unusual apparently because other countries don't have this system. There's a lot of countries.
This is pretty cool.
Yeah,
that's good.
So. Like other countries' universities basically use foreign students as a way of making extra money.
Yeah, like cash cows, and then you just kick them all out.
Yeah, and there's apparently in America especially, but also Canada, the UK, they don't really encourage them to stay. Whereas Germany has an opposite approach, and especially in the last few years where there's been this stuff about the skilled labour shortage, the Fachkräftemangel.
Yeah.
The apparently industry has been like specifically targeting university graduates for recruitment. So universities, especially there's a lot of technical universities in Germany, engineering universities. And I talked to a young Egyptian student, he's a graduate now, who's living in Ingolstadt, and he said he had nothing but praise for his University of Ingolstadt. He said they did everything they could to find him a job. They organised job fairs. They also gave him a part-time job so they have a service that allows students to find part-time jobs while they're studying. So in fact, this was one of the things that the study found as well, is that they actually start bringing in money as soon as they arrive because they have to work. So a lot of people work while they're studying in Germany, so they actually start bringing in money that way as well. Yeah, he said the only problem was language. He said like it would be better if the German, especially German bureaucracy is often only German speaking, and it is really difficult to navigate how to get
and it's also not geared to the language is obviously for obvious reasons, well, not maybe that obvious, but it's how they get away with doing things like genocide is to have impenetrable understandable bureaucracy. And I don't know, like if you just compare it with how things are written in the UK for most people to understand, or their guidelines to what reading age you need to put on things. And in Germany, you just get blocks of text, which even native speakers often don't understand. But that's good.
There you go.
Let's hope people listen. Let's get them all in. Get them all in. There's plenty of room, particularly down in Ingolstadt. That's probably lots of places.
It's a very small town, but it was also the home of Audi, and apparently the I in Audi stands for Ingolstadt.
Really?
Yeah.
God.
I learned that from this Egyptian fella.
Why don't we just do German facts? Nice facts. Nothing...
Apparently, like everyone in that town essentially works for Audi or for an Audi adjacent.
Possibly not anymore. They're going to have to start making tanks.
Yeah, they are. He said it is the automotive industry generally is really struggling at the moment. Loads of people are being laid off.
He works for an international software company that makes software for cars, but it's an Indian company that is just sort of multinational, and he found work that way. But so I just wanted to underline the fact that immigration is not just good for society in general, it's also really good for the economy.
Well, that's good. I hope some random FDP, Conservative, AFD people are listening. They've got all the way to the end. That's a message for you.
Yeah.
Immigration is literally, statistically, by all metrics, pretty positive for places like Germany. 2 other pieces of good news. One is well out of date. Not out of date, because it's good news. It's still as good news as it was. You reminded me of this. Austria, last time we spoke about them, which is important because they are close to us and also German speaking. They did not go fascist in the end.
Yeah.
Hooray.
Hubert Kickl, despite winning the election, did not find a coalition with the centre-right party, even though the centre-right party said they were going to. But then he made such insane demands, like he wanted to like shut down all public broadcasters and everything, that the centre-right party was like, nah. You're weird.
Yeah, okay, I told you that anyway, so
maybe it's good. I mean, it's good for now. Possibly he's gambling on thinking that the next government will be so weak he'll get even more power next time, but we'll never know.
But for now, we've got to take these good news things where we get them, which means we don't interrogate them too much.
Yeah.
No follow-up questions. Just, that's fine. Austria's fine. Move on. Nothing to see here, everyone.
Other bit of good news?
Other bit of good news. I passed my Leben in Deutschland test.
Oh, congratulations.
Thank you. I was very happy.
So how close are you now to becoming German?
I have everything. The last hurdle is that I need to register at my new address, which involves my partner registering himself first. So this is possibly going to be my biggest test.
Okay.
To try and get that organised. But yeah, I will keep people updated. I'm going to be watching these coalition negotiations closely. And
what was your score on the test?
I did really well, which was very surprising. I thought I'd absolutely messed it up, but I got like 1 wrong.
Oh, very good.
Thanks. Which I think was a political one. But
okay.
Hey ho.
You should have just sent them recordings of this.
I know. Well, that's kind of what I was banking on, that I would just like know things from the vibes. But apparently I did. So that's good.
Cool.
Yeah. So.
We got a new patron.
Did we? That's good.
Adrienne,
thank you very, very much.
So yeah, I'm very grateful for that. It's really good. If you would like to
keep us in alcohol-free Radler, which is really good. The problem with drinking a beer on though is I am desperate to pee.
Oh yeah, it goes right through your Radler.
It really does. A mega can is not half a litre, thank God. So it's quite a lot of liquid. But anyway, if you would, like Adrienne, like to keep us in alcohol and also, support us in what we're doing. Support Conrad in what he's doing. I literally, my input is the sum total of what you hear.
Yeah.
So.
It's at patreon.com/Megan's Megan Can.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good. Is that it? Do you have
any
other business?
It feels like it was really short. Was it short?
I suppose so.
Everyone's just like, it's fine. You don't need to keep. You don't need to keep.
People are busy. People have got things to do.
People have got things to do. I hope everyone, guys, honestly, take care of yourselves in these difficult times. You don't have to know all of the things. You don't have to feel all of the things.
Yeah.
I said to my therapist the other day, I was like, I think I feel really numb, thinking that she was going, okay, let's talk about that. She was like, that seems a reasonable response to things. I think that's fine.
Yeah.
Let's talk about something else.
Yeah, good.
So just, you can be numb. It's fine. It's sanctioned for the moment.
Good. Have a lovely weekend.
Have a lovely weekend, everybody.
Bye.
Stay safe. Bye.
In English with a cocktail can. The German news, it's quite a test. With Megan's Mega, you're feeling refreshed. Ooh, Megan's Mega
it's quite a positive message to give to people.
So.
I like to think that we have quite a positive impact on our listeners.
I hope so.
Because we try and get them to defy the fear of listening to the news all day.
I mean, it's better than reading a German newspaper. Surely.
I would definitely recommend listening to our podcast more than reading any German newspaper.
German newspapers barely have pictures. Like fucking, it's just a brick of text.
Oh yeah, and they seem to make a virtue of it. They think it's like so great to have no text.
Not like you Americans with your fucking
colour pictures,
decadent pictures in your newspapers.
Yeah,
What's that? A crossword puzzle? Oh, no wonder you had Trump. Jesus Christ, everyone! Like, there's a middle ground.
You have to concentrate on the news. It's very important, and you have to like keep it there.
Just have a mega.
Have a mega. Give us a picture every now and then.
Just a wee picture, maybe of,
yeah,
a diagram.